Strength and intellect are worthless if no one can feel them. The God within you must not remain hidden. He must radiate power. Machiavelli understood that appearances are as important as reality. Men judge not by truth, but by what they see. If you seem weak, you are weak. If you seem untouchable, they will treat you as such. Your presence must speak before your mouth opens. When you walk into a room, heads should turn, not because you are loud, but because your very being says, "This man does not bow." People must feel it in the way you move, the way you stand, the way you meet their gaze without blinking. Machiavelli advised rulers to appear strong even when fortune turned against them. Why? Because weakness is blood in the water. If others sense hesitation, they attack. But when they sense unshakable calm, they doubt themselves. Power is not just what you have, it is what people believe you have. Learn to project authority. Speak less, but when you do, make every word carry weight. Do not rush to fill silence. Let others drown in it. Slow movements, deliberate gestures, steady eye contact. These are not theatrical tricks. They are signals of inner control. They tell the world, "I do not need your approval. You need mine." Even your clothing, your tone, your manner, all must be intentional. A man who appears careless is treated carelessly. A man who carries himself like a ruler is treated like one. Machiavelli would warn, people do not examine deeply. They judge by the surface. Make sure the surface terrifies and commands. Do not mistake this presence for arrogance or noise. Shouting does not make you powerful. It makes you desperate. True power is quiet, calm, and certain. When others rage, you remain still. When others rush to impress, you stand back and observe. That unshakable calm is unsettling because it is rare. Your words must become weapons. When you speak, people should lean in because they know you do not waste breath. Eliminate filler. Speak in statements, not questions. Never over-explain yourself. The more mysterious you are, the more powerful you seem. Machiavelli understood that fear and respect often walk hand in hand. If you must choose, be feared first, respect will follow. But this presence is not an act. It must reflect who you truly are becoming. If you build strength, will, and intellect, your presence will naturally grow heavier. You will no longer need to force it. The God within you does not play roles. He is the role. When your presence carries the weight of authority, life changes. Doors open without you knocking. People obey without you demanding. Allies seek you out because they sense your strength. Enemies hesitate because they cannot read you, cannot provoke you, cannot find your weakness. Even strangers feel it. An aura that says this man is not ordinary. But beware, presence alone without substance is hollow, and hollow power eventually collapses. A man who acts like a king but has no discipline, no strength, no vision, he is a fraud, and frauds are exposed. Make sure your external image matches your internal reality. When image and substance align, you become unstoppable. The God within you must be visible. He must be undeniable. Do not apologize for your gravity. Do not soften your edge to make others comfortable. Machiavelli would remind you, men respect what they fear, and they fear what they cannot control. Make yourself that force. When you enter any space, let the atmosphere shift, not through arrogance, not through volume, but through the quiet, immovable certainty of someone who does not need to be liked to rule. You do not beg for respect. You embody it. And when you do, the world has no choice but to give it. You have burned the slave. You have forged your will into iron. You have built a mind above the crowd, and a presence that commands respect. Now comes the ultimate law of Machiavelli. A man who cannot rule himself is unworthy of ruling anything. The God within you is not merely strong, disciplined, and intelligent. He is sovereign. He bows to no one, not even to his own weaknesses. This is the final transformation, self-mastery, so complete that power over others becomes a natural consequence, not a forced pursuit. Once you command yourself, the world begins to align around you. People sense it. They follow you not because you beg for loyalty, but because your strength is undeniable. They trust your judgment because you never waver. They fear your disapproval because they know you cannot be manipulated. You become the axis around which others rotate, and you don't even have to ask. But Machiavelli would warn you, with power comes danger. Envy rises, betrayal brews. The higher you climb, the more people will scheme to drag you down. Weak men resent strength because it reminds them of their own failure. Do not grow complacent. Vigilance is the price of greatness. The sovereign self must always stay sharp, always unpredictable. Never let others map your moves. If they expect you to be merciful, be ruthless. If they expect you to be ruthless, show mercy, but only when it serves your purpose. Keep them guessing. A man who is entirely predictable invites plots. A man who is unreadable terrifies conspirators. This stage of transformation is not about seeking recognition. You no longer care if others notice your power, because power that is real does not need applause. A lion does not ask for compliments on his roar. The God within you acts not for validation, but because it is his nature to rule. Machiavelli believed that fear is more reliable than love. Love fades, but fear endures. Yet he also knew that a wise ruler tempers fear with respect, ensuring loyalty without breeding reckless hatred. You do not crush others needlessly. You crush them strategically. Show power sparingly, like a blade drawn only when necessary, but let everyone know it is sharp. Understand this. When you truly master yourself, power over others is no longer your primary goal. It becomes a byproduct. Your life is no longer about chasing approval, money, or influence. It is about embodying strength so completely that all those things are drawn to you naturally. You do not chase the throne. The throne comes to you. But never forget, sovereignty is fragile if neglected. Many men rise high, only to fall. When they grow soft, they believe they've made it and stop sharpening their edge. Machiavelli would spit on such weakness. The God within you does not retire. He does not relax while mortals conspire. He stays watchful, cold, prepared for war, even in times of peace. This is your final law. Rule yourself with absolute authority, and the world will obey without question. You are no longer the man you were. You no longer live by permission. You no longer bend to guilt or fear. You are your own master, and that mastery is the foundation of every empire. When you walk into any room, you will not need to say you have power. People will feel it. When you make decisions, you will not seek agreement. People will fall in line. When you face enemies, you will not panic. You will move decisively, because you know the only authority you truly need comes from within. The God within you is awake. He does not ask. He does not wait. He does not kneel. He rules first over himself, then over everything else. This is not theory. This is transformation. You are no longer a man begging for crumbs of approval. You are the God within, awake, ruthless, undeniable. Machiavelli would tell you, the world belongs to those who dare to seize it. Fortune smiles not on the timid, but on the bold, on those who act with purpose, who bend life to their will, rather than waiting for permission. What have you learned? Weakness is a choice, and it dies when you decide to kill it. Willpower is a muscle. You harden it with daily discipline, not fleeting motivation. A sharp mind sees what others cannot. You think vertically while they crawl in the mud. A commanding presence speaks louder than words. Power is felt before it is seen. And above all, if you rule yourself completely, No man, no system, no enemy can ever rule you. This is the Machiavellian path, not to become cruel for cruelty's sake, but to become unshakable, to live on your own terms, to stop bowing to fear, comfort, or the petty opinions of men who do not matter. But power unexpressed is wasted. Do not simply listen to these words, act on them. Choose one weakness and destroy it today. Choose one discipline and master it this week. Choose one goal and pursue it without mercy until it is yours. Step by step, brick by brick, build the empire of yourself. And when you do, people will notice. They will call you cold. They will call you ruthless. They will say you have changed. Good. That is the point. The God within you does not live to please them. He lives to rule himself and shape his own destiny. If you are ready to keep sharpening your edge, if you are ready to master yourself, command respect, and claim the power most men will never touch, then stay with me. Like this video, subscribe. Join this legion of thinkers and rulers, because this is not entertainment. This is training. This is war. And the world does not need another obedient man. It needs you at full strength. Wake the God within. Rule yourself. Rule everything. As said it. The world does not care about your dreams. It does not care about your feelings, your hopes, or your excuses. It rewards strength. It kneels before power. And it crushes the weak mercilessly. You were not born to shuffle quietly through life, begging for scraps of approval. You were not built to live and die forgotten. Inside you burns the same fire that built empires, crushed armies, and bent history to its will. But that fire has been buried under comfort, fear, and self-betrayal. You have two choices. Remain a servant to fear, comfort, and mediocrity, or rise as something greater, not a man, not a follower, but a force. Machiavelli understood this. He wrote not about morality, but about power. He knew that to rule, a man must appear unbreakable, because weakness is a disease that infects respect, loyalty, and fear. And respect, loyalty, and fear are the currencies of kings. The question is simple. Will you rise or remain a slave? Machiavelli would tell you this with no hesitation. Before you can rule anything, you must first destroy the weakling living inside you. The world is not holding you back. You are that soft voice in your head that says, stay safe, don't offend, please everyone. That voice is your enemy. That is the slave you must kill. It's time to tear the chains off, to strangle the weakness inside you, to awaken the God within, and become the strongest version of yourself, ruthless, disciplined, unstoppable. Every man is born into chains. They are not iron or steel, but they are far stronger. They are invisible. They are made of guilt, fear, and the desperate need for approval. From childhood, you're taught to obey, to smile, to wait for permission before acting. You're told to make yourself small, so others will be comfortable. But Machiavelli knew that comfort is the enemy of greatness, and obedience is the enemy of power. The masses are terrified of ambition when they see someone hungry, someone relentless, someone unafraid to seize what he wants. They call him selfish, arrogant, even evil. But Machiavelli would laugh. These are not insults. They are badges of honor. When weak men curse your strength, it means you are on the right path. Why then should you ask the mediocre for permission to rise? The divine self you are forging, the cold, disciplined, unstoppable version of you answers to no one. He is above petty judgment. He does not kneel. The first step in awakening the God within is to stop living like a servant. Stop bowing to opinions. Stop explaining your every decision to people who have no power over their own lives. Stop apologizing for wanting more than an ordinary life. When you live for approval, you live as a prisoner, A lion does not ask the sheep for permission to hunt. But how do you kill the slave inside you? Not with words, but with action. Begin by defying the little fears you carry every day. The fear of rejection, the fear of criticism, the fear of being misunderstood. Machiavelli would say, if you tremble when others disapprove of you, they already own you. Refuse to explain yourself. Let them call you cold. Let them call you ruthless. Let them call you dangerous. Good. You are becoming what they secretly wish they had the courage to be. Every time you act without permission, you drive a dagger deeper into that weak part of yourself. Every time you hold your ground when others demand you bend, you hear the chains cracking. Every time you do what terrifies you, speaking with authority, setting boundaries, refusing to be used, you choke the slave until he cannot breathe. This internal execution will not happen overnight. You will feel the slave resist. It will whisper, play nice, be agreeable, don't make enemies. But greatness requires enemies. If no one resents you, you have never stood for anything. A man who never offends anyone has no power because he has no spine. The God within you has no master. He is not bound by guilt or fear. He does not explain his existence. He does not wait for someone to tell him, you're allowed to rise now. He takes what he wants because he has forged the right to take it. Understand this. The world will not applaud you for killing the slave inside. They will scream. They will call you heartless. They will say you've changed. And they're right. You have. You've stopped serving their illusions. This is your first transformation. Burn the weakling to ash. Replace hesitation with command. Replace guilt with purpose. Replace fear with contempt for fear itself. Machiavelli's law is simple. Power begins where excuses end. When you crush that inner servant, you no longer ask, am I allowed? You decide. You no longer wonder, will they like me? You no longer care. You no longer live by the rules of sheep. You live by the law of lions. And when that shift happens, when you stop bowing and start ruling yourself, the world feels it instantly. People look at you differently, some with admiration, others with hatred, many with fear. Good. Fear is respect wearing its mask, and the God within you would rather be feared than ignored. Once the slave inside you is dead, you must build something in his place, something stronger than flesh, stronger than circumstance. Weak men negotiate with themselves. They look for permission to quit. Strong men issue commands to themselves and obey. Machiavelli knew this truth. If you cannot rule yourself, you cannot rule anything. That something is willpower. Machiavelli would tell you, without will you are a reed in the wind, bending to every pressure. With will you become iron. The God within you cannot be born out of chaos. He is not a product of luck or emotion. He is forged deliberately through discipline so relentless that it terrifies those who live in comfort. Most men talk about ambition. Few ever master themselves enough to realize it. Your will must become your sword. Every day you sharpen it. Wake when you say you will, not when you feel like it. Work when you are exhausted. Finish what you start, even if your entire body protests.